And then we have another thing here called the cash flow. The cash flow here is talking about all other expenses, the in and out. Money is going out and the money is coming in. They are all parts of the financial settings of the business you are going to do. So you borrowed money to start the business. Now you have started selling. Some monies are coming in. How will these two reconcile? If you consider these two things, we say you are talking about the cash flows of your business. Then we have area of land available for waste disposal. So now you've been able to define your deposit, how deep, its direction and all that. You have to be able to define whether you would get an extra land to dump your waste material. That is, if you are going to deal with surface mine. If it is an underground mine, you will definitely set up a plant at the surface. You need a land to set up your tailings. And then the next thing will be safety concerns, which I've described earlier. The impact on the surface of the land. If it is drainage, environmental drainage and sub-aquifer, how will these things be impacted? And the rehabilitation concerns. Some companies or some countries will tell you to restore the land, which means they want you to give the land 100%. How you came to meet it, make sure you put it back to that setting, which I think is difficult, but if you know you can, we will give you the go ahead to mine. So now, what determines the type of mining? So we have been able to summarize what is up there. And then we are saying that to decide whether it is surface mining, solution mining, or underground mining, we need to know the depth of the deposit below the earth surface, the size of my ore body, the shape of it, the grade, and the type of ore. The type of ore here is talking about the kind of mineral content within that formed the ore. This will influence the type of processing activities that will go on to get the mineral you are interested in. And then the grade, as I explained earlier, is talking about the value, the quality of the mineral itself. So there are two forms of, or two types of mining. We have underground on my left, and then surface on my right. And then when do we go underground? Underground deposits are usually deep. They are usually small, not all the time, but rich. But then surface, the deposit is near the surface. That doesn't mean it's just 1 centimeter near the surface. So it can be 500 meters. But if you think you can do it like that and make money, you go surface. So, but it wouldn't be compared to a mine that is 1,000 meters buried beneath the earth. That one is difficult. For you to mine its surface and make profits within that number of years without getting anything, mining waste. How do you pay workers? So it should be near the surface if you are talking about surface mine. So those are the two things. So types of mining. So we are saying that traditionally, mining methods fall into two broad categories. They are surface mining and underground mining. And then underground mining is usually also classified into three. They are supported, unsupported, and caving method. I will talk about these more when I get to the underground section. So let's not waste time. So this image here is just telling us how a typical mine setting looks like. So shows the morphology of a surface or open pit and underground mine. So if I am dealing with a surface mine, I have the deposit buried beneath the earth. I have my waste, which is the yellow section. Then I begin to open it up like a cone. or a funnel shape. And then at the end of the day, I mine here, take it to the plant. If it is waste, I take it to waste dumps and then process it. And then I get my metal. Valeur, I'm gone. If it is underground, this is how a typical underground setting will look like. All the activities which we do not see, which gives us the mineral of interest, is going on down there. Then we have our setup on top of the surface. We mine, carry our ore up there. So the difference, a typical difference you will see immediately is that they both have mining planets and then processing planets, but it has not got waste dump. So you realize that the underground do not have waste dump. Why? Because most of the time when we mine, we target the deposit directly. And so the waste we get is few. And usually when we get it like that, we push the waste to an empty space we are not working, or we have finished working. We carry the waste there without spending money to bring that waste up. So this image here is just telling us about how underground mining techniques, how you are able to mine small quantity, because from the image we saw earlier, we were saying that the deposit is very deep below the earth surface, but then although it is deep, the deposit must be rich. And when we are mining, we target the mineral. We try our best to target the mineral rather than just drilling anywhere and mining waste. And that is why we don't usually set up waste dumps when we are dealing with underground. And so looking at this table, if we're to mine a particular metal, which is surface, the yellow section, surface mine, we have our ore, which the ore makes about 1,290. But then look at the waste we mine to get that metal, which is 1,860. So in total, we are mining about 3,000 tons of material. And out of that 3,000 tons of material, only 1,290 of that is the mineral of interest. So it means it's almost 50-50. You are mining more waste, but your grade isn't all that much. And at the end of the day, look at that. Then we have non-metal. If it is a non-metal, you mine so much waste, so much metal or ore, and then a little waste, and then put that together, and you are getting the same 3,000. If it is coal as a mineral in other countries like the US where they mine coal, you realize that that one, you mine the ore very little, but then the waste is more, 10,000 plus, and then you have a total of this. So in all, if you combine all these three categories, you mine about 17,000 material, and out of which 12,000 of that is waste, and you are only getting 4,000 as mineral because it is surface. And because of safety purposes, you can't go direct like that and mine. The pit will collapse. So you always have to open it wide like a funnel. And the principle is that it is always in the form of blocks. So if I want to mine this block, I have to mine about 3 blocks on top of it. I have to take 3 blocks off this one before I can mine that. If there is another one here, then I must take another block from here and take another block from here, so that at the end of the day, all the time we get something like this, like a pit of this form. We do this because of safety reasons. So all the time, so assuming this is just the ore and this is ore, but look at the blocks of waste we are going to take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it means if each one is 1 ton, each block is 1 ton. I have 7 tons of materials here, And out of the 7 tons of blocks, 5 tons represent waste, and then the 2 tons represent the mineral of interest. So if you strike a percentage out of this, you will see how much of that is waste. But then compare this to the underground one. You are mining a total of 656. You see that one, the mining is very slow. It's very little, but much of it is the mineral of interest. And so combining all of that, that is mining for you. Then we have processes and consideration. If I want to mine surface mines, what are the processes? They say you scoop ore off the surface of the earth, or you dig big holes, which is open pits, and scoop. And so you disturb a large amount of the environment. You produce large amount of waste rocks, and then relatively safe for miners because you are using the skies as your roof. And then it is cheaper because you have low operating cost. It means that the daily things that you need to continue working every day, the expenditure is low when you compare that to its counterpart, which is underground. And then we have it being more efficient. We will get to know that into detail as we forge ahead. Then we have underground mining. It says that we dig a deep vertical shaft, blast underground tunnels to get mineral deposits, remove ore or coal, and transport to the surface. Less resource is recovered, and then more dangerous and expensive. It is true. Then we have it disturbs less land. This is also true. That is the process. And then, so the processes are, you disturb much smaller surface area. You have the waste rock is often left underground, and then it is dangerous and hazardous for man because you are living in an enclosed area. I don't know if anyone amongst us is working underground. Then we have that being very expensive. That is high operating cost. Why is it high operating cost? High operating cost because when you are down there and you blast, you need to give protection to the man working there. You need to supply air for the man working there. That tells us that if we were to buy air and breathe every day, many of us would have died. It's serious. So whilst you are underground working, the company must provide you with oxygen and cost money to push air to you when you are working down there. So that is why we say underground is very expensive. And less efficient is trying to let us understand that you don't have so much flexibility. If you are working in surface and you are using some number of trucks or excavators and you think that you want to increase production or whatever, it's easy to do. But underground, your type of mining method you have chosen may restrict you from doing other things. Then unless maybe you go and dig another portal that can help you enter the mine, and this time around you change the style. So this is also still talking about the benefits or the differences of underground and surface, which I will entreat you to go and read so that we can quickly finish this.